When I saw Slice of Otaku's analysis of Lapis, I just had to make a response. I really took issue with some of the points in his video, so I'm going to respond to each criticism he made. For the record, I'm not making this video because I'm a huge Lapis fan who can't stand any criticism of the character. My main motivation for making this video is that I think Slice of Otaku's analysis just gets Lapis's character wrong on so many levels, and I think it misses a lot of the crew universe's intentions. So I'm going to address each criticism Slice of Otaku made point by point in this video. The first criticism Slice of Otaku makes of Lapis is that her fusing with Jasper is not a sacrifice, but a selfish act. In fact, he goes as far to say that this is the most selfish act in the entire series. His argument is that Garnet had weakened Jasper, so Lapis fusing with Jasper was not necessary. First of all, I'm not convinced of this. Later in the series, when Jasper comes back, the Crystal Gems have a really hard time fighting her. But even if Lapis didn't have to fuse with Jasper, Lapis may have thought she did, which would mean Lapis still thought the sacrifice was necessary and had good intentions. It's also possible that it's just a plot hole in the show, an inconsistency for the sake of the show's themes. My point is that the show itself nowhere indicates that Lapis did this out of selfishness. In fact, Slice of Otaku himself says everyone treats it like a sacrifice. So unless the show reveals a twist that Lapis did this primarily out of selfishness, it seems like a reach to assume this is her motivation. Next, Slice of Otaku condemns Lapis for tricking Jasper into fusing with her. He compares this to how Pearl tricked Garnet into fusing into Sardonyx and Cry for help. On the surface, this comparison makes sense. After all, in both situations, someone is being tricked into fusing under false pretenses. But this is a faulty comparison if you look deeper. Slice of Otaku characterizes fusion as the ultimate connection and says that the first time should be special. But fusion obviously means different things to different characters in different contexts. For Garnet, it's a long-term romantic relationship. For Amethyst and Pearl, it's a temporary union to get certain tasks done. For Stevani, it's an experience, an expression of their friendship. In this case, Jasper wanted to use fusion for brute strength, more specifically, to hurt other people. Lapis tricked Jasper to stop Jasper from hurting other people. Pearl tricked Garnet for her own selfish reasons. That's the difference. Obviously, if you think Lapis was just fusing with Jasper out of selfishness, you won't agree, but this is such a flimsy argument. After unfusing, Lapis herself says she hated the experience. In fact, she hates even being reminded of it so much that she avoids the water entirely. The water, her element. It seems pretty clear to me that Lapis saw this as a sacrifice, and that she suffered too. But the part of Slice of Otaku's analysis I take the most issue with is his argument that Lapis is Jasper's abuser and treated Jasper badly. This part of the analysis not only takes things completely out of context and leaves out crucial facts, but it's actually kind of dangerous. It demonizes an abuse victim and it misses the message. Basically, Slice of Otaku interprets the interaction between Jasper and Lapis in Alone at Sea as Lapis cruelly refusing to help Jasper, who gets on her knees begging her for help. But let's break down what actually happened. First, Jasper approaches Lapis and Steven after admitting to stalking them. When Steven sees how scared Lapis is, he puts up a shield to protect her. When Jasper sees this, she laughs and says Steven should turn the shield around because Lapis is the one Steven should be afraid of. Notice Lapis is the one who's afraid. Jasper is laughing. Jasper claims that Lapis is the one who's really dangerous, but it doesn't look like that's the case. This is a typical tactic of abusers, to make themselves out to be the victim, to project onto the victim things that are actually true of themselves, and to try to confuse the victim and their friends of the truth. Then, when Jasper drops to her knees, she doesn't ask for help like Slice of Otaku says. She says, "Let's be Malachite again." Lapis is confused. She asks, why would Jasper want this? She talks about how bad things were, how bad she treated Jasper, and how bad it was for the both of them. This is when Jasper uses a line so familiar to victims of abuse. "It will be better this time," Jasper says. "I've changed." What Slice of Otaku doesn't see is that abusers often act like the victim. Jasper gets on her knees and uses lines really common to abusers. In abusive relationships, it's so easy to be lured into going back to the abuser. They tell you they've changed, that it will be different, but it's never the truth. Lapis sees through this. She stands up for herself. She says no to Jasper. What we had wasn't healthy. Jasper doesn't respect Lapis's no and doesn't back down. Even if you want to argue that Lapis was toxic or abusive too, clearly she's the one doing the right thing in this interaction. Jasper wants to resume the toxic relationship. Lapis wants to end it. Slice of Otaku mentions Lapis strikes Jasper, but he leaves out the fact Jasper was going to shatter Steven and that Lapis saved Steven. Jasper wanted back into an abusive relationship, and Lapis decided to end it. I think that was best for both of them. Slice of Otaku also criticizes Lapis for being slow to forgive Peridot and destroying the gift Peridot gives her. He says that Peridot was just following orders to imprison Lapis. I'm sorry, but that doesn't matter. If someone hurts you, even if they're doing it just because someone told them to, that's still wrong. Slice of Otaku says she was just doing her job, but that's no excuse. Lapis has every reason not to trust Peridot to be angry with her. She helped imprison her, after all. Don't you have any sympathy for her at all? As I mentioned, she still has trauma from her experience with Jasper. This is why she avoids the water for so long. So Lapis's main issue with Peridot is that she doesn't trust her. Her decision to destroy Peridot's gift mirrors her decision to kick Jasper off the boat. She's trying to protect herself. In the end, though, she learns to trust Peridot and they become friends. And actually, she's not the only one to try to destroy Peridot's favorite thing. In Too Short to Ride, Amethyst threw Peridot's tablet in the water. Sure, she didn't succeed in doing that, but it was still totally uncalled for, and she didn't apologize. Slice of Otaku also criticizes Lapis for having no remorse for almost drowning Connie. The thing is, Lapis isn't supposed to be some 100% good guy, saintly character. I saw an alignment chart on Tumblr that designated her as true neutral, and I would totally agree with that. When she starts off, she just wants to get home, Earth be damned. She doesn't help escape at jailbreak, and she doesn't accept help from Steven either. She's flawed, like many other characters in the show. Heck, Steven himself jokes that every gem he befriends tries to kill him first. Lapis is no different. That said, some people have argued she was trying to subdue, not kill Connie and Steven, that she wanted to knock them out by depriving them of oxygen, not kill them. Some evidence for this theory? Her Amethyst water clone only subdued Amethyst. Look, she's just sitting on her. She could have shattered her if she really wanted to. Meanwhile, Jasper has done just as bad things and for less sympathetic reasons. And her redemption arc hasn't come yet because she's still on Homeworld's side. And yet, Slice of Otaku and lots of other people are way more sympathetic toward Jasper than they are toward Lapis. The last criticism that Slice of Otaku makes is that the crystal gems in Lapis had a conflict and it was never resolved. And I have to admit, this is a valid criticism. The crystal gems never did anything to help Lapis out of the mirror for thousands of years, and they may have tried to put her back if they'd had their way. That's kind of hard to forgive, and it's kind of swept under the rug. I also agree that Lapis's character could have been handled better throughout the series. I think she was sidelined a lot in the show and could have been more consistently characterized. That said, I don't think Lapis herself is a horrible person, like Slice of Otaku and some other people say. So, are there some issues with how Lapis's character is handled in the series? Sure. But do I agree that she's an abuser and terrible person? Not at all. And of course, Lapis is definitely not a saint. But that's true of most, if not all, of the characters in the series. I mean, Pearl could have killed Steven if she had tried to pull out his gem like she wanted to. There was also that time she almost let him fall to his death in Rose's scabbard. Not to mention the obvious fact that Peridot was once a villain not too long ago in the series. There's also Rose, who shattered Pink Diamond and bubbled Bismuth without even telling anyone, who's lied about a lot of things. And it's clear that she's probably not going to get redeemed since, well, she's gone. Even innocent little Steven tried to leave the rubies out in space for the rest of eternity. That's pretty cold. In my opinion, Lapis is no worse than other gems people hate on a lot less. She's flawed, but I think that's what makes her interesting. She's not technically a bad guy, not 100% a good one either. But more importantly, she's a victim of abuse, working through trauma, and that's a groundbreaking thing to explore in a kid's show. I think some people have misinterpreted what the Crewniverse was going for with Lapis, and I hope this video helps people appreciate her character more. Well, that's it for this video. I hope if Slice of Otaku sees this, he doesn't take it the wrong way or anything, but maybe it'll start an interesting discussion. Thanks for watching.